Here are the 5 best Pokemon in each role. I have 5 fun and interesting Pokemon to play in every single role in solo queue, starting now. Alright, okay, let's start with the support role, because that's probably where you least expected me to start. I think right away, the best support Pokemon in ranked and in competitive is just Hoopa. Hoopa is by far the best. Too much versatility, even the nerfs didn't really cut into it too much. Yes, the Hull's cooldown is a bit lower now, and like you can't use it as much, a little bit less damage, but you're honestly fine. It's still the best Pokemon in the support role by far, and feels like the most impactful in a game. You can also like just solo carry. I'd say for number 2, Eldegoss has to be up there right away. Like, you have insane amounts of damage, you're able to heal, shield your team, you do a lot in the early game, a lot in the mid game, a little bit less impact in the late game, but of course, depending on your expertise and skill of Eldegoss, it's still very valuable and strong. Number 3, it's the Blissey. Now, I think Blissey is still really good in this solo queue setting, like this. Like, you get quite a good value. Like, if you get a good random, you're pretty good. You're pretty set. You ult them in the team fights, and you can probably either save them or help them carry. Like, whatever happens, it's generally along the better supports, and you have good consistent healing. Number 4 is Clefable. I don't love Clefable at all. I think the lane secure is whack, and there's a lot of things that are wrong with Clefable, but in this setting, I think Clefable's rapidly increased. Follow Me moveset is broken. Gravity is pretty good as well. And the healing is just absolutely absurd. And if you get Hyper Beam, hey, look, you're securing Rayquaza for your team. I think very, very strong. And I'm going to finally put the top 5, right? But Comfey as the last one. I wouldn't play Comfey necessarily in solo queue too much, because you don't know what kind of teammates you're going to get, but I feel like it's better than other 2 options, another 3 options. I would love to put Sableye up there, but the majority of Sableyes I see are really struggling to make any impact in the game. They don't deal any damage, they don't do enough scoring, they just constantly get caught and die and feed, and you're kind of useless at Rayquaza, so it can be really rough to play that. Whereas I think with the Comfey, at least you can attach to a player, you can help someone out, and that generally goes quite a long way in actually helping these games move forward. So now looking at the tank picks, number 1 tank pick is going to have to be, in the solo queue setting, Lapras. I just think when you play solo queue, you want a character that's high impact and high value, and you can do sort of everything, and that's always Lapras. You'll see him play top a lot. And I think the few of the other characters I'm going to put in this list will be played top a lot, because Lapras, it just does so much in the game. When you look at this and you think about how it's played, Lapras, its ultimate allows you to open up the map in so many different ways. It has enough damage to execute and destroy squishies, and it can sort of last there quite long. Like, you're alive, you're able to help and tank for your team. It's quite a strong character. I'm going to go for Blastoise in number 2. These 2 defenders, the water type's actually crazy. It's so powerful. Blastoise is my number 2 tank because, once again, it has this carry potential. It's still strong in the solo queue setting. You don't need to be teaming with friends to do good with Blastoise. Your Surf moveset is broken. Rapid Spin is broken. I wouldn't go Rapid Spin if you're a tank. Remember, these are like experience share characters, but Surf Hydro Pump does so much damage. Good peeling, good zoning, and then you have this Unite move that comes up so often. Overall strong. Level 7 buff was a huge upgrade. Blastoise takes number 2. Now, number 3, it's Slowbro. Just like with Comfey and Blissey, I'll help your team, save someone. This is the opposite, like, kill someone, shut someone down. Slowbro is always there to deliver the pain and punishment, and it's such an annoying Pokemon to play against. So keep your eyes out peeled for some Slowbros around the Rift. It's really, really frustrating to play against in Via Sky Ruins. You're going to see Slowbro ult someone, shut them down, surf them, never die. It's not going to be the hardest carry, but hey, look, with Scald, you can do some crazy stuff. Number 4, it's Umbreon. I think Umbreon is up here for the main reason that it's, once again, like the Slowbro character, sort of shuts them down. I've heard people refer to the cage ability, like every 3 seconds you get a Slowbro ult. It's not exactly that powerful, but it is very good. And if they're playing divers and squishies, it can be really, really punishing for the opposing team to be playing against this character. So yeah, definitely have Umbreon up there. The HG region you get from the ultimate's very nice as well. Lets you run around for free. Just Umbreon is very strong right now. Definitely up there with one of the most played characters. And I actually have Crustle as number 5. And the reason I have Crustle as number 5 is because it lets you dive these squishies. It's still very tanky. It runs around the map. Does some good scoring as well. It's a good Pokemon if played correctly. And I would like you to think about how you can apply Crustle correctly in the game. So now that we got the tanks done, now down to the attackers. right away, number 1 is going to be Inteleon. What do I need to say about this character? The critical strike passive is the most broken thing about this Pokemon, and if they nerf it, this Pokemon goes in the bin. Snapshot still hasn't been nerfed. Liquidation isn't nerfed. It still does a lot. Is Inteleon broken? Yes, it is. It's probably one of the best, if not the best character in the game. It's really hard to match. You have lots of mobility with Fell Stinger or Acrobatics. You have so much damage with either of the moves. You have this critical strike passive. Your ultimate's nice. The only thing you're weak to is if you get dove or shut down. Overall strong. Mew. Mew comes into a second. It's a lot harder to play than Inteleon, but it's still like just as rewarding and very, very powerful. Even with the nerfs to the Solar Beam damage, your boosted auto attack hasn't been nerfed, so consider maybe using Coaching and Electro Ball more, but it's still very powerful and able to shut down games entirely by itself. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't want to include the Mewtwo's in this list, but if I was to, I would put Mewtwo Y here. But actually, I think in the third place, it probably goes to Alolan Ninetales. Where is Alolan Ninetales? Here you go. I find Alolan Ninetales very effective in this rank mode right now. Lots of stuns, lots of CC, has this short range damage. It fights these melees well. It's sort of good in the game. It works well with tanks. It works well with supports. It's a good sort of mediator, and it has a strong early game as well, so you're not going to get too far behind. The buffs, very nicely needed. Aurora Veil is definitely runnable again, and when that moveset's runnable, it's definitely quite strong. I think it's quite enjoyable to play, and it's a really strong carry in the game. Okay, and for number 4, we have Venusaur. So Venusaur in the bot lane, a little bit slower to play, but it's still fine. Once you scale into the bigger Venusaur, you're going to do quite a lot of damage. And if you have a team around you, it is quite a strong carry. Like, you're going to be able to do long-range nukes with the Solar Beam. And if you throw your ultimate down, you have great objective secure, one-shot capability. Very good. Petal Dance is always an option as well. That's just a very strong ability and character. Definitely something to consider in the solo queue setting, because you get healing, you get range. There's not really much you don't want with Venusaur, and you kind of get it all. Now, of course, considering you're probably going to be laning against Inteleon every game, it is a lot weaker, and you're going to lose that laning phase, but it's not that bad, and honestly, it can be redeemed. And for my final pick in the attacker role, I'm actually going to put Chandelure. I really have been enjoying Chandelure recently in the ranked mode. Especially as a bot laner or jungler or wherever you want to play it. But Chandelure is definitely secret OP. Once you get used to how it works and understand what movesets are right, if you can use Poltergeist, it's like the AoE slow area. This character is tremendously broken. I would highly recommend it for anyone who enjoys these mages with a medium to long range capability. It's definitely a medium range mage. It does struggle against poke. You need to sort of know how to play against the divers with it, but once you figure all that out, it's still quite a reliable solo queue carry. You can completely shut out teams. If they're the mid-range tanks, that's usually the terrorists of solo queue, you do really well. You're playing against Blastoise, Slowbro, Lapras, Umbreon and stuff. They have horrible, horrible, horrible games. Crustle does completely counter you though. Mamoswine as well, but not that bad. You have quite a good game. Now, if we talk about jungle, number 1, it has to be the bug on Dojuro, but I don't want to count it, but yeah, Dojuro, the agility bug right now, it is the strongest Pokemon in the game because it's bugged. You get 5 auto attacks on agility. You get permanent tri-attacks. It's almost impossible to play against. This character, every Japanese player plays it, and it's a good reason why. If it's broken, it's been played in Japan, and yeah, that's just the spamming. It's almost impossible to have any counterplay to this, so yeah, have fun. You can't stun it, you can't slow it, you can't catch it. You need Slowbro specifically, or you need it to play really poorly. So, yeah, enjoy Dojuro. Yeah, so okay, I'll add Dojuro as we'll do 6, I guess, here. So I'm actually going to say number 1 actual solo carry is Dragapult. This character is absolutely bonkers in the jungle right now. You can completely 1v9 games. Jungle's a role about experience and getting ahead and everything, and Dragapult is a literal 1v9 character. Right now, you go invisible, you reappear. It's complete noob stumper, which is perfect for solo queue. I feel significantly worse in competitive, but yeah, in solo queue, where the team has less coordination, less ability to react to these invisible plays, you're going to have Dragapult really stomp and shut down games. And I feel it's very difficult to find this workaround for the Dragapult, because all that ends up happening is you just end up dying to it. and then people try to come in one by one, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's absolute nightmare and misery. Okay, and as number 3, I'm going to put Zoroark, because Zoroark is just so good right now. Like, still one of the best premier characters in the game. If you have a supporter in Zoroark, it's very hard to shut down unless you have double tank or something, and like maybe a complete S tier team comp. Like, I mean, the mobility is just, it's insane. It's everywhere in the game. It gets really strong at level 5. It doesn't really fall off. It has Execute in its kit, damage dodging abilities. Zoroark is definitely not a fair character, and we're not even talking about Night Slash and its many different applications of bug abuse. Because, of course, Night Slash allows you to become invulnerable for about a second and a half. Combined with the dash, and if you know how to use the item or a jet cancel, it's so powerful. Like, we're talking about like instant abilities. I would love to showcase a clip, but probably shouldn't show how to use this one. So yeah, now that we're down to so this is a second, I'd actually say Glaceon takes the 4th place. I really like Glaceon jungle right now. Once again, like the Dragapult, it has a lot of range damage. It's a good ripper, a good clear. It does take a bit longer to scale. You sort of get online at level 6, level 8, level 10, level 12. But once you start getting online, you get really far ahead and you're doing a lot of range damage. It's sort of like playing this Liquidation Inteleon from the past, a bit faster, a little bit more AoE. It can be good, but you do take that ramping up time. You can get Dove. There is some troubles and struggles with it, but if you are very good at Glaceon, it can be very frustrating to play against, and it's a really good carry if you have a nice team for it. Okay. It's going to come into Mimikyu as number 4. I really like Mimikyu still because Mimikyu allows you to do pretty much whatever you want. You have a free fluidity to farm the entire map with Shadow Sneak, and I think that's always going to be your go-to moveset. Play Rough is optional now. I think like the nerf, it sucks a bit, but honestly it's not that bad. Shadow Claw is still super strong. This character really didn't receive much nerfs. 0.25 seconds on Fear, not really enough to make you too frustrated about the game, and I think that you're still going to be very powerful in that overall setting. So yeah, still really good. You're still going to see it a lot. It's still really overpowered. You know, go play a Mimikyu game. You'll see what I mean. It's very strong. And I think I'm going to rate as number 5, like the proper number 5 for the jungle. It's probably going to be Urshifu. I feel like while Urshifu was nerfed, it's still overpowered. It's still able to do all these things that they want to in the game. And it's not really affected by these nerfs. Like, of course, yes, it can't 1v9 the same way, and that's why it's not up on the top of the list. But it can definitely still cause a massive impact against the enemies and really like make them have a very hard time. So, you know, give Urshifu a try. Don't cry on Urshifu. Okay, and for top lane. So it's Zacian. While this character is still legal, while it's not an EX, it is still it's just like it's like playing Dojiro. Like, honestly, like, Zacian is so overpowered. If you think that you can't do any value if you, like, have to stand still, go Metal Claw. It's the same thing. You just auto-attack them. If you have a support in the game, you're going to completely 1v9. As long as you don't get stunned, this character is so 1v9. It's so hard to deal with. It's almost impossible to actually stop. You need a lot of CC. Like, you completely win the lane. You get ahead in the game, you run around the map, you're extremely fast-paced and powerful throughout the whole game. Like, your leveling curves are really nice. Zacian is really hard to beat. Like, you know, don't bet against Zacian. I would now normally put Lapras or Blastoise here. I guess I'm going to do it for funsies, but I'm going to put, actually, I'll put Buzzwole next. Buzzwole is tremendous if you have the right game for it. Like, if it's a good game for Buzzwole, it is like a 1v9 character that's almost on par with Zacian. And that's like with like all these buffs and stats. Like, you're talking about like, I'm going to hit level 9 off the lane phase. I'm going to run around, pick up and like slam and bash anyone I see. And it's really hard to deal with. You can't really do anything about it because it just stun locks you. And then with the 0.5 second buff that they gave to Superpower, hey, look, like, have fun beating it. It's so strong. I don't think it's actually beatable in the lane. I think it's the best laner in the game. Only subpar to Blastoise, but like that's crazy. Like I don't know what you're meant to do against that. Maybe Lucario could beat it with some tech and cheese, but like that's then with Lucario's fall off rate, I think Buzzwole is just so powerful. Now normally, okay, so like for the sake of this, like I would have another Blastoise, but I'm putting Blastoise here. I would say that Blastoise is probably better than Buzzwole, but Buzzwole does counter, and I also have Blastoise in the tank thing. But yeah, but think about it, Blastoise, just everything we said about the tank Blastoise is applied 3 times more in ranged, like the top Blastoise. This thing is a crazy carry. Like, we run into the game, and anyone we see that we want to kill, we just spin at them. We have ulti for flanks. It's so tremendously overpowered. It can really do anything it wants, and it's really hard to stop. So that's lots of fun against you, and really difficult to stop when you're playing like with it. So like, as long as you play around your Blastoise and sort of see what they're doing, they're gonna really quickly shut down pretty much any carry in the game. Okay, and number 4 is Blaziken. Blaziken carry in the top lane is so strong right now. I feel like you get the stacks really easily. You scale in line. They actually slightly nerfed it, but especially in the solo queue setting, it is still so strong. Like, this nerf really doesn't affect you too much. You still do a lot of damage. You're fine, as long as you're not like desperately spamming ultimate for all these like buffs that they removed. You should be completely fine. Just, keep your combos nice and compact. Get ready to fire punch and fire kick and charge overheat at the right times, and you're going to still do so well. And in the games where there are immobile squishies on the enemy team, or like really tanky ones that don't have lots of CC, then you're going to be really good. Like Lapras in particular. Umbreon can be a pretty decent matchup at times. Like Crustle's probably like super annoying, but yeah, like Blaziken is not bad by any definition. And for the last pick in the top lane, this is always an interesting one because I feel like top is the role with like the least diversity right now. As you can see, like, we have Buzzwole, we have Blastoise, and then Blaziken is like significantly behind these two. I actually think Leafeon is probably the correct answer here. Has a lot of lane secure. You get ahead early. It just sort of sits there in the lane. It soaks experience. You go get experience with the Solar Blade. It's still really strong carry. You can still have a lot of carry potential. You get into the game later, and you can do whatever you want. But yeah, I would say that would be my list. The 5 characters in each role that are the best in the solo queue. Here you have it. I hope you take this information. You go win some solo queue games of it. All right, great. I'll see you guys in the next video.